to see a rooster tonight. Are we ready to go?
Yeah!
We're ready. Let's go.
All right, everyone, don't stand up yet, but get ready to stand up. We're going to do the wiser king. Was a wiser king. He had 2,000 men. He marched them up the hill again. He marched them down again. And when you're up, you're up. And when you're down, you're down. And when you're only halfway up, you either up or down. We try. Was a wiser king. He had 2,000 men. He marched them up the hill again. He marched them down again. And when you're up, you're up. And when you're down, you're down. And when you're only halfway up, you either up or down. Let's try it. Was a king. He had 2,000 men. He marched them up the hill again. He marched them down again. And when you're up, you're up. And when you're down, you're down. And when you're only halfway up, you either up or down. That's too fast. You think maybe just
Maybe one more time. I don't know about that. These kids can't. I don't think they do. Well, we'll give it a chance.
was a king. He had 2,000 men. He marched them up the hill again. He marched them down again. When you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. When you're only halfway up, you either up or down.
All right. That was. Boy, I'm wore out already.
Alright, stand up for Peace Like a River.
Everybody stand up. The young can stand and the young at heart can stand. We can all stand if we like. All right. Peace like a river, I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. And we know that's going to get Booster out here. But we got to bring it. We got to bring it. All right, and this next song is going to help us get Booster out here. Okay, so let's stay standing. Let's stay standing. Okay, let's be really strong and loud here because that's what Booster likes, and that will get him out. All right. I may never march in the infantry, ride in the cavalry, shoot the artillery. I may never fly over the enemy, but I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir! I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir! I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir! I may never march in the infantry, ride in the cavalry, shoot the artillery. I may never fly over the enemy, but I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir! All right, now we're going to do the country version. Do you all know the country version of this song? All right, Marcus, if you don't know it, follow Marcus. He's going to show you the country version of this song. I may never march in the infantry, ride in the cavalry, shoot the artillery. I may never fly over the enemy, but I'm in the Lord's army. Yeah! I'm in the Lord's army. Yeah! I'm in the Lord's army. Yeah! I may never march in the infantry, ride in the cavalry, shoot the artillery. I may never fly over the enemy, but I'm in the Lord's army. Yeah! All right, you think is it time for Booster Wars? It's about that time. All right, Booster. I think he's not moving. I think Booster is right around the corner. Okay. Have you seen him, James? Is he back there? Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna get him out here. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. On the count of three, just like last night. Y'all did a great job with this last night, but I think we can be louder than we were last night. On the count of three, we're gonna say Booster, Rooster, together in unison, where he can't miss it. Okay? Are we ready? Yeah! Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I just saw his leg.
We got to do it one more time.
We got to do it one more time. We got to do it even louder. Can we do it?
Yeah!
1, 2, 3.
practically on the way to Aunt Irma's birthday party. It's easy stuff.
Oh, Aunt Irma's, that reminds me, we gotta go. I'll go get everybody, we'll get in the car. I'll be right back.
I don't get it either. I don't understand why we can't see the world's largest rooster statue. It's practically on the way. It's an easy stop.
Oh, we've got to go.
Alright, okay. Who's got the GPS? I don't have it.
I don't.
I don't have it.
I've got the GPS.
Alright, get in the car.
All right, get in the car. Get in the car.
Let's go. Tell us which way to go.
To the right, folks. Yes.
Hey, there's a Buc-ee's coming. That reminds me. Oh, got it, Buc-ee's.
Oh, you got it.
Oh, that's like so big. Those bathrooms were so clean. Well, yesterday that didn't work out too well. This don't feel like the right way. Oh,
Yeah. We'll take a little left up here.
left. Okay.
All right, folks. We're here.
We're here.
We're here.
Well, wait a minute. This place looks so. The GPS says we're here, but this place does not look familiar at all.
Yeah, where are we?
There's a sign right there. It says, world's largest rooster statue.
Uncle Hunter, did you take us off the path?
Well,
Oh.
maybe I did, but we're here, so I mean, we might as well get out and see the statue, right?
Okay, I guess. Make it quick. Make it quick.
Well, listen. While we're here,
I'm excited.
I want a picture with this statue. I mean, that's a beautiful statue.
Our kids go take
And I gotta have a picture with this incredibly good-looking statue.
I got you. Don't worry, Dad. Looking great, Dad.
Thank you. All right, we're ready to. Wait a minute, Uncle Hunter, what are you doing with those binoculars?
This thing is tiny. I need my binoculars to even see it. This is a ripoff. This is not the world's largest rooster statue. It looks like a normal rooster. What the? Oh,
Hey, Uncle Hunter! This is what happens when you don't follow the path.
Speaking of not following the path, kids, this reminds me of that Old Testament Bible story of Jonah. Jonah did not go where God told him to go, and he ended up in the belly of a big fish.
So Uncle Hunter's ended up in the belly of rooster?
Are you sure he's gonna run the rooster? You know.
Well, we're about to find out.
Hey, how about this? Let's get in the car and he can jump in. That way we can make a quick getaway. Okay, come on.
Great
Come on.
plan.
Get away.
Quick getaway. Quick getaway.
We're coming, Uncle Hunter. You come on.
So, Uncle Hunter, let's go. Come on. Let's go. Beep, 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 beep,
Come on.
beep.
Uncle Hunter.
where did they go?
think of that tonight? What? The lights weren't even on. That's what we're worried about. All right.
That's okay.
So let's dismiss youngest, oldest. 2 to 3-year-olds are going to go first. J.P. Wamble. He is my nephew. What was it, 2 years ago you were here? Yes. 2 years ago. There you go. And he is at the Germantown Church in Germantown, Tennessee now. And he's going to speak to us about Jonah. Put up your mom. I'm on my end.
My bad. Hey, look at that. Hello, everybody. All right, I love to talk. I don't think there's going to be a lot of discussion tonight because I don't think I ask any questions in this massive PowerPoint I've got. But, so I'm going to say this. Hello. Hello. Okay, good enough, I guess. I did not like how that last slide said Mr. That was a little weird. That is what it is. I'm J.P. Wamble, like my uncle just said. I'm the youth minister at Germantown Church of Christ. I've been there for 1 year and 1 week. It was awesome. I love what I get to do. I get to work with about 70 youth, and they are awesome kids. I tell them often, so you make my job really easy. Don't make it hard. You're not going to like me if you make my job hard. And they haven't made it hard yet, so I'm very thankful for them. I do love what I get to do and the good people I get to do it with. I got to speak here 2 years ago, and a lot has happened in this 2-year span. Good things have happened, bad things have happened to each and every single one of us, I'm sure. I'm very grateful you're here this evening. Tonight we're going to look at Jonah, and this is a really, really cool story. And I'm sure you're familiar with this, but we're specifically going to look at the theme of God's love and compassion amidst our mistakes. And this was a title I was given. I'm going to add 3 words to it. I hope I'm allowed to do such a thing. God's love and compassion amidst our mistakes, yes, but when I think about Jonah, it's also our poor decisions. God's love and compassion amidst our mistakes and our poor decisions. Yes, we do bad things on accident, but we also, at least I, do bad things on purpose. I do things I'm not supposed to. I don't obey God, or I intentionally disobey God. We do bad things. We make poor decisions. Romans 3:23, we've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. You're probably familiar with this story, Jonah and the whale, as we've called it at VBS. You've probably heard this since you were a child at VBS. It's a really, really great story. A lot of people will tell you, or people are split on whether this actually happened or not. People are split whether it's allegory or poetry or if it's even reality. Whatever it is, I fall in the camp that it's reality. Whatever this is, the fact of the matter is there's a story to be learned, and there's a lesson to be learned. What is that lesson? I think in 2 words, second chance. Our God is a God of second chances, and not just second chances, but third, fourth, fifth, as many chances as we need. God always gives us another chance until one day it'll be too late. But God gives us a second chance. And I think about love and compassion and how that relates to second chances. And I think about God's love and God's compassion when I make a mistake, or when I make a poor decision, or when I sin. God still gives me another chance. God's love and compassion. To quickly define these 2 words, these are big Bible words. I think all of us have a great concept on love. Maybe compassion, we've got a good concept on it, but what does it really mean? To answer this simply, my father has always said that love is an action word. If I tell you that I love you and then I slap you upside the head because I think it'll be fun, I don't love you. If I'm doing it for my own gain, now discipline's a different story. Proverbs tells us that we need to discipline our children, sure, but I cannot tell you I love you, do something intentionally against that, and then still tell you that I love you. That does not make sense. And we've got some verses here we're going to quickly run through. 1 Corinthians 13, 4-6, 1 John 4, 7 and 8, John 3, 16 you are probably familiar with, and then Romans 5, 6 to 8. Love is patient and kind, 1 Corinthians 13 says. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking. It's not easily angered, and it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but it rejoices with the truth. Love always protects, trusts, hopes, and perseveres. We sing that song, The Greatest Commands. You may be familiar with it. Then 1 John 4, 7 and 8 also builds on this idea of love being an action word. Let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God. Why not? Because God himself is love. And we also get to see John 3:16. As I said, you're probably very familiar with this, whether it be from Tim Tebow or just a great Bible verse to memorize. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. And then Romans 5, 6 to 8. When I think about love being an action word and the way God shows us how he, through his actions, loves us, I think of this. You see, just at the right time, when we were still powerless, your version may say helpless, Christ died for who? For the ungodly. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous person, though for a good person, someone might possibly dare to die. Here it is. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. When I think about love and how it's an action word, greater love has no one than this, John 15, 13, that somebody lays down his life for his friends. What did Jesus do? Lays down his life for each and every single one of us. And then I think about compassion, and it's very similar. Compassion is also impossible unless it's accompanied by action. Compassion is impossible without action. The life of Jesus, the life, death, burial, resurrection, all of it, the gospel itself, I think can be summed up into one word. If we don't use the word love, we can use the word compassion. Matthew chapter 14, verse 14, when Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them and he healed their sick. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, Mark 6:34, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd, so he began teaching them many things. Right here you get to see Jesus. He sees people. He doesn't just see the need, he feels the need. Isn't that a lesson to be learned? He has compassion on them, and his compassion does not stop at, oh, look over there, I feel bad. He acts on what he sees and what he feels. He heals their sick, and then he begins teaching them many things. Colossians chapter 3, verses 12 and 13 say this, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Well, what does it look like in my life to clothe myself with these things, with compassion especially? It means that we bear with each other and we forgive one another if any of us has a grievance against one of us or anybody. We forgive as the Lord forgave us. You remember that just at the right time, He died for us while we were still sinners. Whoops. Let's see. Perfect, right there. I think of these two words, love and compassion, bring me to this, second chance. Throughout the entirety of the book of Jonah, which is just a page and a half in my Bible, you get to see a second chance over and over and over again. A second chance. Quickly talk about the history of Jonah. It's really, really interesting, and this does very much matter before we get into the text itself. Jonah takes place in the early 9th century, about mid-9th century, excuse me, the early Assyrian period. We can see Obadiah is circa 845 BC, Joel 830, just 15 years later, and Jonah can be anywhere from 790 to 750. Now, if we take this latter date, the last bullet point is going to matter a lot. This is during the divided kingdom in Israel. Assyria was beginning to make its presence known. Assyria was this war-ridden nation. If you've seen the... I'll talk about that in a second. Hang on. Don't let me forget. VeggieTales. Somebody remind me of that. 722 BC, Israel was destroyed by Assyria. You see, just 28 years later, Assyria rises up and they take the northern kingdom of Israel. They wipe them out. It's no wonder Jonah didn't want to preach to these people. He knew something was coming. He knew these people were bad. Let's keep going. What about Jonah himself? What about Jonah the man? What do we know about Jonah? What do we need to know about Jonah? He's the most well-known of the minor prophets. There are 12 minor prophets, and if you ask anybody any of them, they'll probably just give you this one. Even if you just say, hey, name a prophet, probably be Jonah. This is really interesting. His name literally means dove. When we think about a dove in biblical literature, in biblical times, we think of a messenger. We think of peace, redemption, a new beginning. Think of when Noah sends the dove out. The new beginning. Think of when the Holy Spirit lands on Jesus and rests on Him as though it's a dove, a new beginning. A new beginning. One may say second chance. Jonah is also mentioned in 2 Kings 14, just briefly. He's just mentioned by name. Very interesting to note, he was also raised 4 miles from Nazareth, where Christ Himself lived. We also know from the story itself that Jonah is a prophet who's reluctant to fulfill God's mission. I think sometimes we are too. He's also a prophet. He did end up fulfilling God's mission, if we want to call it that, but he complains when God does what He says He will. And we'll get into that in a few minutes. And then I think about this. Doing those top 2, his story can be very similar to our story. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 20 tells us, we are therefore Christ's ambassadors, God making His appeal to mankind through us. We implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. We are Christ's ambassadors just as Jonah was God's ambassador. Are we ever reluctant? Or do we ever complain? The story of Jonah is four chapters long. It's not very long. We're going to hit the high points and then we'll be on our way. Jonah chapter 1. Simply put, is Joseph, okay, if I ever say Joseph, I don't mean to. I realized that today as I was running over this. My bad. Jonah, that's that guy, he's running from God. And we'll talk about why in a moment. In chapter 2, we see him essentially what seems to be a running to God. Chapter 3, we see him running with God, is what it looks like. But in chapter 4, we see him run ahead of or run before God. We'll talk about all 4 of these. To quickly look at Jonah, not Joseph, Jonah chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, arise, go to Nineveh. Nineveh was the capital of Assyria. And in the VeggieTales cartoon, the Ninevites are really bad. They are in the Bible too, not just the VeggieTales cartoon. And they slap each other with fish. Those guys are messed up. Anybody seen that VeggieTales? Is that just me? Yes. Okay, it's cool. All right. Look at that, a little discussion. That's what I'm talking about. But you see that Jonah, not Joseph, Jonah says, I don't want to go there. In verse 3, but Jonah rose to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. Tried to flee from the presence of the Lord. Good luck. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare and went down into it to go with them to Tarshish, away from the presence of the Lord. We've got a map here. Well, you can't really see it. It's kind of washed. That's totally okay. Can y'all see that? Sure can. So Jonah himself, he's around here in Gath-Hepher. And God says, hey, go preach in Nineveh, just up here, 550 miles from where he's at. Jonah instead says, no, I don't want to. So what does he do? He travels 2,500 miles across the Mediterranean Sea to Tarshish. Look at this. This is so interesting. Jonah not only ran from God, he did so in one of the most unimaginable ways possible for an Israelite to do. The Israelites were never a seafaring nation. The sea often is used as a symbolic representation of chaos and of the nations in opposition to God. Think of the Red Sea and the Jordan River. When the Israelites walked across it on dry land, think about how scary that had to have been. Also, given the history about what they thought and how they felt about the sea in the first place. And it had the Egyptians running after them. Think of Isaiah chapter 43. Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one God. Excuse me, that's Deuteronomy 6. Hear, O Israel. Isaiah 43, 1 through 3. There's a song. I'm singing it in my head. Hang on. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and the waves, they will not overcome you. That's a big deal to say the waves will not overcome you. That means all of life's worries, troubles, anxieties, whatever it is, you're okay, Israel. You're okay. Thus, Jonah's running away from God to the sea is more than just going west instead of east. It's not just that he's going 2,500 miles across the Mediterranean. It's also that it involves symbolically moving towards all that is in opposition to God. Then you get to see this. And Jonah even mentions this top part himself. Yet God controls the sea and its inhabitants. And in Revelation 21:1, the statement, the sea is no more, may also mean that at last the rebellious nations can no longer trouble God's creation. This is from Halley's Bible Handbook. This is so interesting. It's not just that Jonah ran as far away as possible. It's that he did so in such a way that was so unimaginable to an Israelite, to a Hebrew, to a Jew. They did not like water, to put it simply. But what did he do? He got on a boat to show how much of a rebel he was. To tell God essentially, I really don't want to do this. I'm getting as far away as possible. And then in verses 4 through 6, this is so cool. The winds and the storm come. The ship was about to be broken and lost, so the crew says, we got to get rid of some stuff. They start throwing things overboard. Joseph, there it is, Jonah was asleep below deck. And then in verse 6, some of this is cut off. I'm so sorry. So the captain came and said to him, what do you mean, you sleeper? What are you doing asleep? How are you sleeping? There's a storm outside. Arise and call out to your God. Oh, let's look back at verse 5. Then the mariners were afraid and cried out to who? Each of his own God. Each cried out to his God. And the mariners even tell Jonah, arise, call out to your God, whoever that may be. Perhaps your God will give a thought to us so that we may not perish. It's believed that these mariners, these sailors, these seamen were pagans. They did not follow the God of Israel. As we can see, they each prayed to their own gods. Let's look at verses 7 to 10. And they said to one another, come, let us cast lots, that we may know whose account this evil has come upon us. They cast lots, and it fell to Jonah. They said to him, tell us on whose account this evil has come upon us. What is your occupation, and where do you come from? Where is your country, and of what people are you? What are you doing here? And why is this happening to us, is what they're saying. And he said to them, I am a Hebrew, and I fear the Lord, Yahweh, the God of the heaven. And here it is. Jonah knows that the Lord made the sea, but he's on it anyways. Who made the sea and the dry land? Jonah knows there's no getting away from the presence of God. Watch this. Then the men were exceedingly afraid. What is this thing you have done? They knew he was fleeing from the presence of the Lord. They grew exceedingly afraid. Why is that? Well, this reminds me of Joshua chapter 2, verses 8 to 11. This is so fascinating. Rahab tells the spies, before the spies lay down for the night, verse 8, she went up on the roof, this is Rahab, and said to them, I know that the Lord has given you this land, and that a great fear of you has fallen on us, so that all who live in this country are melting in fear because of you. Look at the next part. We have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to Sihon and Og, the two kings of the Amorites east of the Jordan. Whom you completely destroyed. When we heard of it, look at this, our hearts melted in fear, and everyone's courage failed because of you. For the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on the earth below. I can't help but think that these sailors, these mariners, had heard about the God of Israel. Why were they so afraid? Because they knew that God was really God. I also think of Acts chapter 5. I'm going to skip through this a little bit. Acts chapter 5, Peter and John are arrested for preaching again. They go before the Sanhedrin. And Peter, this is the best response ever. We must obey God rather than human beings. You killed Jesus, by the way. And they say, get out. This was not the Messiah. You don't know what you're talking about. You have no business talking to us, the Sanhedrin, that way. Gamaliel steps up. This is Gamaliel, Paul's teacher. And he says, hey, just be really careful whatever you do with these men. Some time ago, Theudas rose up. Some time ago, Judas rose up. But both of those guys were killed and their followings were scattered. And neither of their followings came to do anything. But look at this. In the present case, I advise you, leave these men alone. Let them go. For if their purpose or activity is of human origin, it will fail. But if it is from God, you will not be able to stop these men. You will only find yourselves fighting against who? Man? No. God. And I think the big lesson to be learned in this, that we can learn from the sailors growing exceedingly with fear, I think we can learn 3 words. God will prevail. Our God will prevail. No matter what. The book of Revelation in 2 words. You ready for this? God wins. All 66 books, 2 words. God wins. God will prevail. If this is of God, it will not fail. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking, we're about 2,000 years out from the death of Christ and the beginning of the early church if we take the 33 AD date. It's like, are we seeing, some would say we're seeing a decline in Christianity today. Others would say we're seeing what is about to be expected, the golden age of Christianity. It's very interesting. And I was thinking, in 2,000 years, what's the world going to look like? You ever thought about that? And I found myself coming back to Acts chapter 5, though. If it's of God, it will not fail. There's a reason that we're here right now on a Monday night. There's a reason there are kids here right now for VBS. God will prevail. Continuing in chapter 1, I'll just jump through this. He says, pick me up and hurl me into the sea, then the sea will quiet for you. And then they say, all of them pray, O Lord. They're praying to who? Not their own, but the Lord. Let us not perish for this man's life, and lay not on us innocent blood. So they picked up Jonah and hurled him into the sea, and the sea ceased from its raging. Now we may look at this and say, Jonah was so thoughtful. He's letting those boys off easy. Maybe. But also look at this. Jonah's new way out was the sea. Jonah would rather enter the abyss, as we read of it in Luke chapter 8, verse 31, and have his life end than experience himself and let others experience the love and the compassion of God. Yes, he fled or attempted to flee from the presence of the Lord, but also the goodness of the Lord. Do we ever do that? In verses 14 to 16, this is so interesting, and here's your first second chance moment. There it is. O Lord, let us not perish for this man's life. Let us not, lay not on us innocent blood, for you, Lord, have done as it pleased you. Then the men feared the Lord exceedingly, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows. God gave them a second chance, just like He does us today. Then in Jonah chapter 2, Jonah 2 is a little weird. We get to see in verse 17 of chapter 1, the Lord appointed a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and he was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. I looked up to see if this has ever happened to anybody, and one man back in 2021 was swallowed by a white whale. I didn't know that was a thing, but he was swallowed by a white whale at full scuba gear. And he said, I thought a shark bit me, but then I didn't have any teeth marks on me, so I was okay. He said he could feel the whale trying to swallow him, and it tightened him up. And about 15 seconds later, it wasn't long at all, it just spit him back out. He says it was the darkest, most scary experience of his life. That was so interesting. Jonah chapter 2. Jonah prayed to the Lord, his God, from the belly of the fish, saying, I called out to the Lord out of my distress, and He answered me. Out of the belly of Sheol I cried, you heard my voice. You cast me into the deep, into the heart of the seas, and your floods surrounded me. All your waves and your billows passed over me. When my life was fainting away, I remembered the Lord, verse 7, and my prayer came to you into your holy temple. Verse 9, but I, with the voice of thanksgiving, will sacrifice to you what I have vowed I will pay. Salvation belongs to the Lord. The weird thing about this prayer is that Jonah doesn't necessarily apologize or repent for the things he's done up to this point. He just recognizes God is with him, and that's very good. I'm very proud of Jonah, and hindsight's 20/20. It's very easy for us to look at this and say, Jonah, you messed up. Yes. But he doesn't really attack the root of his own problem. Verse 3, you cast me into the deep. Verse 4, I'm driven away. When my life was fainting away, I remembered the Lord. But with the voice of thanksgiving, I will sacrifice to you. And the Lord spoke to the fish, verse 10, and it vomited Jonah out upon the dry land. What Jonah thought was going to be his end by jumping into the water, God says, not yet, by sending a fish to swallow him. And what Jonah probably thought was the end by being in the belly of a fish, whatever that looked like, God says, I'm going to give you another chance. I'm going to give you a second chance. The first second chance we get to see in the book of Jonah, the first example of God's love and compassion is towards the sailors and the mariners. And then it's toward Jonah himself because he needed it as well. Then we roll around to chapter 3. The word of the Lord came to Jonah the second time, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and call out against it the message that I tell you. So Jonah arose and went to Nineveh according to the word of the Lord. Now Nineveh was an exceedingly great city. It was 3 days' journey in breadth. Really big city. And don't forget, Nineveh was the capital of Assyria. These people were bound at some point to take over the Israelites. Jonah knew that. Maybe the first time we see a second chance in this entire book, though, is the fact that God takes such interest in a nation that resists Him. He says, you go preach there. I'm giving them a second chance. I just need somebody to carry it out for me. And I think about the way this works in today. Romans chapter 1, verse 16, Paul says, I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of salvation to some of those who believed, right? Some? This is part, okay, I see a head nod. Perfect, I love it, thank you so much. To most, right? There it is, all who believe. First to the Jew, then to the Gentile. In Romans 5:8, just at the right time, while some of us were still sinners, right? Some of us? I need a head nod. There it is. Thank you again. I need somebody else to nod your head next, okay? She laughs. I like it. I'm ready for you. Most of us, right? Perfect. Christ died for all of us who are sinners. And then chapter 6, verse 10, Christ died once for some people. There it is. Most people. Perfect. How many people did He die for? Marsha? All people. God Himself views each of us in one of two categories. Now, let me say this first. God has created each of us in His image. Genesis 1, 26 and 27. We are each beautifully and wonderfully made. Psalm 139, 13 and 14. And He's created each of us with the intention that we should do good works. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. But some people aren't children of God. John chapter 1 verse 12 tells us that those who believed, He has given the right to become children of God. Some people don't believe, whether out of ignorance or just out of a lack of desire. Some people don't and will never choose to believe. But everybody on this earth, let me tell you this, is either a child of God or a potential child of God. I'll touch on this more in a moment. Isn't it interesting that God takes such interest in those who resist Him? There's your other second chance. The third one we get to see in the story. Chapter 3, verses 4 and 5. Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. That's an 8-word gospel message. Y'all are like, man, JP, you talking too long already. Well, y'all didn't think that was funny. Wow. Okay, y'all thought that was. 8 words in English, 5 in Hebrew. Why is it so short? I simply think it was because He did not want to. Out of obligation, He says, I have to. So I'm going to get up here and do this. He didn't realize that God had saved him from the fish, from the sea, from the storm, and still given him a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance all along the way. He says, I guess I'll preach. And so he does. But look at their response. The people of Nineveh believed God. They called for a fast and put on sackcloth, from the greatest of them to the least of them. Once again, the gospel, the good news, salvation is for all people. Not just the best, not just the worst. It's for everybody. We keep reading. When Jonah's warning reached the king of Nineveh, he rose from the throne, took off his royal robes, covered himself with sackcloth, and sat down in the dust. And then the king says, hey, this guy's right. Let's do what he says. When God saw what they did and how they turned from their evil ways, He relented and did not bring on them the destruction He had threatened. God relented. Our actions can have the power to make a difference. God listens to us when we cry out to Him. Some people may say, I thank God for unanswered prayers. That's a country song. And I've always questioned that. I don't think there's any such thing as an unanswered prayer. God answers every prayer. Yes, no, or not right now. Yes, the book of James tells me that if I ask with the wrong intentions, the answer to my prayer may be different, but God answers every prayer. And He listens to us when we cry out to Him. And He's given us a second chance, just like He gave them, the Ninevites, a second chance. Remember how they were slapping people with fish? That was a joke, okay? Yes. He still gave them a second chance. And they all lived happily ever after, right? Amen, as we stand and sing. VBS is over. The end. Not. That's where they're going to stop tonight. We're almost done, I promise. Ninevites, okay, everybody's great. We often skip over chapter 4. Even in older classes, I remember skipping over chapter 4. That right there is the VBS ending. God relented, and He did not do the disaster He said He would. Woo! What happens next? Verses 1 and 2. Look at this. Look at his attitude right here. But it displeased Jonah exceedingly. And he was, what? Angry. And he prayed to the Lord and said, O Lord, is this not what I said when I was yet in my country? That's why I made haste to flee to Tarshish, 2,500 miles away, for I knew that you are a gracious and merciful God. You're slow to anger, and you abound in steadfast love, relenting from disaster. When am I done? Now? Oh, okay. No worries. Therefore now, Lord, please take my life from me. Okay. Perfect. I'm almost done. It's better for me to die than to live. Really, Jonah? This entire city of 3 days' breadth, it's a big city, of these terrible people have been saved. And Jonah says, what? I'm mad, kill me. Let me skip to, yes, this. Was it not fair for Jonah to feel this way? I'd say yes and no. Yes, but no. Because I do this too. There are people in my life I don't want to share the gospel with. I'll just be honest. I'm sure there's people in your life you feel the same way about. People that have hurt us, wronged us, done things against us or the people that we love, And we develop this mindset. God really wants me, as I'm sitting here in an adult Bible class on a Monday evening with my own time, God really wants me. I do the right thing. I don't hang out with the wrong people. I don't do the wrong thing. God really wants me. I'm in church 3 times a week. We have small group. We do so many great things together. God really wants me, but does He really want them? We have this attitude too often. Look at what Jesus says, though. If you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. The best way to say it is this. 1 John 4:19, we love. Why? Because He first loved us. It's okay for us to be hurt, get angry, and ask questions. It's not okay for us to decide who we want to save or not. Why not? Because J.P. Wamble can't save anybody. God does that. I just have the responsibility to help as many people get there along the way. And in chapter 4, verses 10 and 11, God says, who do you think you are? And I'm reminded of Job 38:3. Prepare yourself like a man and you will answer me. And that's the hurt. We never see Jonah's response. I'm reminded of Luke chapter 15, the prodigal son and his older brother. We see Jonah, run from God, to God, with God, and before God. And he never really seems to figure it out, does he? But the big point is this: second chances, you get them. God's given me one, and actually, God's given me a lot more than I deserve. And He continues to do so each and every day. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. And I think of Psalm chapter 23, verse 5. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. I've done things I'm not proud of. I do things I'm not proud of. But if I walk in the light as He is in the light, He will continue to overflow my cup each and every single day of my life. Second chances, we get them. So now the best question I can ask you is, what are you going to do with it? Thank you so much for your time.
new movie coming out?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, hey girls. Hello, Bonnie. I was just coming in to remind Sally that we need to leave for VBS soon.
Okay, Dad.
Okay, you girls have fun, but don't make too much of a mess.
I just don't want to go to VBS. So boring.
You take that back right now. Take it back. Take it back.
Okay, well, what if I have to sit next to that one kid who fixes nose? Ew, gross.
Oh, come on. VBS is so much fun. We got that kid start blowing his nose.
Whatever. I still don't want to go.
Well, I have to go home and get ready, but I hope you change your mind and that I see you there tonight.
Okay, bye, Bonnie.
Bye.
I just don't want to go. It's so boring.
Boom!
Mr. Dan, you scared me. What are you doing here anyway? What do you want?
I believe my services are needed here.
Services? What kind of services?
Word on the street is you don't want to go to that stinking, rotten VBS tonight. And your dad is making you go.
Well, yeah.
I bet I can get you out of it.
Really? How?
Oh, Sally, you underestimate my powers of trickery. First, try this. Tell your dad that you have a fever of 112.
Not gonna work.
That's an instant get out of VBS card.
Not gonna work.
I don't know about that.
Oh, come on. It'll work like a charm. Or, hey, get this. You could, accidentally lose your shoes. Or hide under your bed. Or just vanish behind the couch, like a sock.
I don't know about this. My dad said it was important, and Bonnie was pretty excited.
Important? Come on. It's just stories and singing and kids who don't know how to color inside the lines. Staying home in senior PJs is way better.
Well, maybe.
Well, maybe what?
Nothing.
I heard the whole thing. She's trying to get out of going to VBS.
What?
Hey, kid. You're on your own. Is that true, Sally? Were you trying to get out of going to VBS tonight?
Well, just what if it's boring or awkward? What if I have to sit next to that nose picker kid?
Well, what if it's amazing? What if God has something there just for you tonight?
You really think so? Think so, Dad?
I really do. And more importantly, God thinks so. He calls us to be faithful, even when we don't feel like it. You might miss out on something wonderful if you don't go tonight.
Okay, I'll go. I'm still not sure about this, though.
Come on, let's go.
All right.
Well, if it isn't little Miss Too Good for Fun, where's your sidekick, St. Sally?
Oh, be quiet, Mr. Singer. You're just mad because you missed out on a great night at VBS. We had so much fun. We learned all about Jonah, and we even got to see see Uncle Hunter get chased by a rooster.
I'll bet Sally had a horrible time.
Actually, Mr. Sims, I had a great time. And if it wasn't for Bonnie and my dad, I might have missed out. You're just always dragging people down. Maybe you should just go away. Go away! Go away! Go away! Go away! Go away! Go away!
I don't want to hang around all you goody-goodies anyway. But don't worry, just at the right time, I'll be back.
I'm glad he's gone.
Me too. Thanks again for encouraging me to go to VBS tonight.
You're welcome. Hey, you want to go see that new movie?
Yeah, let's go.
You got it. All right, who had fun at VBS Night Two? We have 2 more nights. I hope you want to join us tomorrow and Wednesday at 6:15. In just a moment, hold on, sit down just a moment. We're going to go get some food. Parents, please come and get your kids. And if you are a parent of a younger child, please help them go through the line so we can avoid any messes or any large amounts of waste of food. You know what they'll eat, how much they'll eat, so go ahead and help them out with that if you would. I have no other announcements, so would you join me in prayer? God, thank you so much for another great night. Thank you that we got to learn about Jonah, and we ask that you help us to take what we learned and help us to become more like you. Thank you for the food that we are about to eat, and thank you for all the fun. We pray all this in your son's name. Amen.
All right.